Namaskara, the South Indian is here and today's story is this. Karnataka Congress MP, his name happens to be D.K Suresh, an MP from Bengaluru Rural. He is the brother of Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, D.K Shivakumar. So, calls for Bharat Todo. This was a reaction to the interim budget. If one is against those people who say go to such and such country because you don't belong to this country, equally guilty are these people who say we want to secede. I'm sticking my neck out. He's out of line completely. You know why? Apart from everything else, he's an MP. He should actually make responsible statements or comments. The interim budget was presented on Thursday by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, and like any budget, interim or otherwise, there is of course praise and of course there are brickbats. But then there is a limit, and when one says that, it is about the integrity of this nation. Call it by any name, India or Bharat. Congress MP from Bengaluru Rural, D.K Suresh, while expressing his displeasure on the interim budget, obviously went overboard, wearing his southern nationalism on sleeve, and said how the people of South India might have to demand for a separate country if the injustice of not providing the rightful share of taxes to the southern states continues. Listen in to what he said.
ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಹಂತದಲ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾಲ್ ಏನ್ ಸಿಗಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಹಣ, ಇವತ್ತು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಹಣ ಉತ್ತರ ಭಾರತದ ಕಡೆ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಹಂಚ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಾರಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಖಂಡಿಸಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಬೇಡಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಇಡಬೇಕಾದಂತ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನ ಹಿಂದಿ ಪ್ರದೇಶದವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ತೀನಿ.
To reiterate what he said, Suresh said how under the current BJP-led regime at the center, we, meaning he and other denizens of South India, are seeing a lot of injustice with regard to in the share of taxes distributed, whereby North India is getting more. It is a fact that the center gets 4 lakh crores from Karnataka every year under several taxes, but has an issue in terms of what it gets back. After Suresh's most objectionable statement, the salvage operation kicked in from the Congress party. First, it was started by D.K Shivakumar. D.K Suresh, I beg your pardon, who must have been perhaps berated by senior party colleagues. He took to X, which was earlier Twitter, and wrote, "A proud Indian and a proud Kannadiga. South India and especially Karnataka have faced the brutality of injustice in funds distribution. Even after being the second largest GST contributing state, the center has been utterly unjust to Karnataka and southern states, while states like Gujarat have seen a 51% hike. If this is not injustice, then what is? We are sons of the soil and need funds for our developmental activities. Even after repeated requests for funds for developmental activities and drought relief, the center has continued to turn a deaf ear to us. I shall also continue to raise my voice against injustice towards Karnataka, no matter what. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka." That's what he said. Now, D.K Suresh's brother, who's also the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, D.K Shivakumar, while attributing his brother's remarks to people sentiment, also joined in Saving Suresh campaign, and this is what he said.
Suresh or any other leader, HK Patil or any other leader might have spoken that the pain of South India. See, there should be a balance. The entire country is one. You can't only look at the Hindi belt, you have to look at the entire country. So in this budget, there is no equal distribution of financial sector. Though Karnataka has been giving a lot of revenue to the center, I think I don't see any, not even last year also at least something was being given, still not has been delivered. For example, for education itself, about 5,200 crores was being allotted and not even a single rupee has been released. And entire South India, there is no major announcement which has been done. So we all feel that we have been let down. But as a party president, the entire country is one. We are Indians. There is no question. India should be united. There is no question of asking any region-wise.
But it was when Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge spoke in no uncertain terms, taking objection to what Suresh had said, I beg your pardon, that the message of Suresh having breached all limits finally kicked in.
देश को तोड़ने की बात किया हम कभी सहन नहीं करेंगे, चाहे वो किसी पार्टी का हो, चाहे मेरे पार्टी का हो, चाहे उनके पार्टी का हो, चाहे और किसी के। इस देश को एकता रखने के लिए कोई कहे या नहीं कहे, मैं खुद मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे होके कहूंगा, कन्याकुमारी से लेकर कश्मीर तक हम एक हैं, एक रहेंगे, एक देश रहेंगे।
As was expected, the BJP went hammer and tongs against D.K Suresh. Listen into what Piyush Goyal had to say.
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, ये कांग्रेस की जो विभाजनकारी सोच है, जिस प्रकार से शुरू से इतिहास में हमने कांग्रेस का व्यवहार, उनका काम करने की पद्धति और देश को बांटने का काम कांग्रेस ने समय समय पे किया, ये इसका एक और उदाहरण है। मैं समझता हूँ ये देश को बांटने की सोच है। जिस प्रकार से देश के संविधान के ऊपर ये आहत है, देश के संविधान का अपमान है, जिस प्रकार से देश की एकता और अखंडता के ऊपर ये अपमान किया गया। हम जब शपथ लेते हैं तो देश की सॉवरेनिटी, देश की इंटेग्रिटी ये सर्वप्रिय होती है, सर्वप्रथम रहती है।
There were of course other voices also who joined cause in criticizing D.K Suresh, like Vijendra and R. Ashoka.
One is about a member of parliament belonging to the party to which the leader of the opposition belongs and to which he is the president, talking about dividing this country, sitting member of the House, Lok Sabha. And here we are being lectured on technicalities you can't speak about, and your ruling, which you've taken all care to read it out in full, says that this is not beyond this House to talk if it is a matter of such a serious concern, and it is very well established in your order. Now, instead of going by the precedent of that order, the leader of the opposition and his entire party has chosen to walk out on a matter.
Dividing the country, conspiring to divide the country on the basis of religion, language, regionalities is nothing new for the Congress party. He says that the devolution of funds from the central government to southern states, especially Karnataka, is partial, Karnataka is being discriminated, and on this ground has made an argument for a separate nation, and his argument, his comments reek of a Jinnah-style separatism. While this separatist tone is to be condemned, his statement is also bereft of logic and facts.
D.K Suresh, by the way, is one of the few MPs that they have in Karnataka. Senior leaders like that talking about dividing India and seceding South India from North India. This is the hypocrisy of the Congress. This is the double speak of the Congress, that one leader talks about Jodo, another leader talks about Todo, and they may want us to forget that the only reason for the underdevelopment of many states like Jharkhand, the poverty in many states like Jharkhand, is deliberate policies of the Congress for 50 years from 1952 to 1995.
We shall of course discuss and debate all the aspects of how Suresh's remarks on a separate southern state shall impact the politics in an election year, but one thing is clear. This shall be yet another nail in the remnants of the India Bloc and will have an overall impact going forward on the politics of this country. Let's debate. Nizam Faujdar, General Secretary and spokesperson for KPCC, has joined us. Dr. Sudha R. Halkai, spokesperson for the BJP in Karnataka. Dr. Baswaraj Itnal, senior journalist, is with us. Vijay Grover, also senior journalist and political analyst. Namaskara to all of you. First question is of course to Nizam Fauzdar. Nizam Fauzdar, all limits breached. Whenever you've been on my show, you've said how for the Congress party, the nation comes first, caste, gender, religion is secondary. What kind of a statement was that by D.K. Suresh, who was of course is very, very important, because we saw that once your party won the elections, he was very much there during the backroom parleys and also right in the front with D.K. Shivakumar.
Sudha, the BJP seems to be going on a hyper mode to basically, poster it as an anti-national, we are a divisive, and various things like that. But I need an answer from the BJP saying that जब उन्होंने कहा कि देश के गद्दारों को मारो गोली, रामजादा, हरामजादा, and various issues. When Prime Minister says मैं कपड़े देख के पहचान जाता हूँ, and various statements made by the BJP has basically divided the nation. Mr. Suresh simply said, if the central government continues to take 4 lakh crores of funds from the state and only gives back about 41,000 crores, it means it's an injustice. And if it continues, then the people may have a feeling of, the North India, South India, and various things like that. He never said we want another country as a South India or the North India. It's a wrongly labeled, and I have an objection to the statement that you made. This is the nail in the remnants of the India Bloc.
Yes,
you could have said
everyone's
it's a coffin.
left you.
You could have.
Nizam,
get real. Do you want to say it's a coffin?
Nizam,
no,
get real. Get real. Yeah, come
People
on.
Of this country.
Mamata
says
bye-bye. Nitish Babu has gone away. Mr. Maan has a problem.
I will never.
Come on, and
Sudaji,
semantics.
Sudaji, anybody can say. Let me complete it, Sudaji. Please, please.
आप semantics में माहिर
You have
हैं.
called me. Sudaji, you have asked me to come here to clarify. Let me clarify.
So
now,
you've
please.
clarified, and I disagree
No,
completely.
let me add a little more.
Ji.
Let me add a little more. See, the people of this country will remember forever that it's the Congress party which gave the independence, which fought, and the BJP allied and played against the country as a Hindu Mahasabha, along with Britishers, to basically saying that we have fought and given blood and sweat to this country, and we will always stand by the integrity of this country. But BJP has to say, the Modi has to say, every other leader and the finance minister has to say that why they take 4 lakh crores of the state and only give us 41,000
Yeah, we'll
crores.
come to that. That's a very relevant point.
No,
it's a very relevant point, Nizam, but you are going hither and thither. What D.K. Shivakumar said, which means that you are going against even what Mallikarjun ji said, and also Deputy CM of Karnataka. Both of them have used very strong words. I think the Congress president today, I have seen, he says, Main Mallikarjun Kharge. He named himself Dr. Itnal. Don't you think this is completely out of line on the part of D.K. Suresh as a politician first, responsible MP second, and third, also as a citizen of this country? Secessionist, when you speak about it in today's parlance, even legally, of course, we can go into the semantics. Was so and so a secessionist? No. Who's a terrorist, etc. I'm not getting into this. But to say that we want a southern state, which the DMK and the DK used to speak about, and they have fallen in line today. But today, don't you agree that DK Suresh has bitten more than he can chew, Dr. Itnal?
So I tend to take it in a bit nuanced way, because Mallikarjun Kharge or D.K. Suresh or D.K. Shivakumar or any parliamentarian for that matter, they are bound by the oath to protect sovereignty and suzerainty of the nation. So that's why it is a conflict, and there is an emotional quotient also here about the moment we present it as he is Bharat Todo. So, but we need to understand exactly what is happening here. And before that, we have to understand why nations are formed, like why India was formed, why other countries were formed. It was essential. What was East India doing here? What was British government doing here for 200 years? They were taking resources from this country, and they were discriminating us. After taking resources, they were discriminating us they're treating us as second-grade citizens. So, number one, resource migration. Number two, insult to the identity. These two factors lead to this kind of movements. Now, understand here, the Central Tax Devolution Formula, Central Finance Commission's formula, it considered 1971 population as one of the indices to arrive at how much money should go to which state.
Right.
Now, why it was never revised till now? Because there was an understanding, whether it is Indira Gandhi government, or it was Rajiv Gandhi government, or Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. There was an understanding that population control has not been effectively implemented in these states. So if we revise the population index now, the more money will go to north, while southern states have been more disciplined, they have controlled themselves, so they will be punished unnecessarily for doing well. That is why it was not revised. What the Modi government did, they revised the year of population census to 2011. So by very formula, you change the structure in such a way that automatically northern states will get more funds.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, even the GST share from 42% it came to 38% of all the states. Number three is cess. Cess is it's more than doubled in last 5 years.
Dr. Itnal,
let me complete.
Yeah.
I'll come to that point.
All right.
It's more than double, and more worrisome is what we are staring at in terms of delimitation of the constituencies in this country. Already there is enough data to conclude that northern states are going to dominate in the parliaments, whereas southern states are going to be all the states put together. They will get around 150 states. 150 seats. So here is a case where we are discriminated against for doing well. We are discriminated against in financial terms. We are discriminated against in terms of parliamentary share of seats. And then what we are getting? We are being lectured to. But they give us this lecture in Hindi, Hindu, and they just give us lectures.
No, so but Dr. Itnal, even the ex-finance minister of Tamil Nadu, PTR Madurai, had also highlighted this. But then when you add the rider of do this or else, I think as a responsible MP, I don't think that nation before anything else, and you are there because you are Indian. I mean, you are not there because you are somebody else. I have to take a break now, ladies and gents, and I'll be back, and then I shall go to Sudhaji of the BJP and also Vijay Grover, senior journalist. Back in a jiffy.
हमारी नारी शक्ति को सशक्त करने से ही देश सशक्त होने वाला है।
हर महीने महिलाओं को 1500 रुपए प्रति माह दिलवाया जाएगा।
What Nitish Kumar did to provide cycle to girls, so they could safely, quickly move out of the house, go to school, and quickly come back. Ching, 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 ching.
माँ अन्नपूर्णा तू ही, माँ अन्नपूर्णा है तू ही वीणा वादनी, हे शक्ति स्वरूपा जगदम्बा, हे नारी तू नारायणी।
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
Welcome back. The South Indian is here, and this is what we are discussing. This is D.K Suresh, younger brother of Deputy Chief Minister D.K Shivakumar in Karnataka. He's called for, a separate southern state, and that's what we are debating. And now let me go across to Vijay Grover. Vijay Grover, I want your comments on this. Do you think that, this kind of a statement is responsible enough for someone who's also in more ways than one responsible for governing, administering?
Well, Sudha, if you were to look at the statement that has been made by D.K Suresh, it basically echoes the sentiment of a lot of people in terms of, the discrimination that is happening to the South and Karnataka, specifically, if I were to highlight this entire thing. It's not about, we're looking at just this as a secessionist statement, but the sentiment behind that is something which should be taken note of. And unfortunately, we are only trying to play politics on this, and nobody is trying to actually see the deep message of discrimination of South India that is being ignored, because nobody wants to acknowledge the fact that the southern states have suffered in silence and continue to suffer in silence. And the kind of statement D.K Suresh has made is actually in a hypothetical scenario that in case this continues, this could be a separate nation, or that kind of thing. And if you were to go down to the streets of Bangalore or go down to a southern street, you will find that a lot of people carry the same opinion. This is unfortunate for the simple reason that every taxpayer, including me, feels that the money that I contribute as GST in whatever I purchase or income tax does not come back to my community, my society, my city, for development, for a better lifestyle. That is what we all pay taxes for. And if it goes to Uttar Pradesh, or it goes to Bihar, or it goes to Rajasthan, that is something which hurts a lot of people, and that is something that the BJP should also take note of it. The current government should also take note of it, to understand that there has to be equitable shares in relevance to the kind of money that is given as taxes from over here. And if 4,41,000 crores, you can understand that only 10% of it flows back. Certainly, everybody is going to feel bad about it, feel hurt about it. And, we've seen in the recent past, when these points were raised by Siddaramaiah, the devolution was not fair. We had a Prahlad Joshi, or we had other BJP leaders who rattled out series of things which the Prime Minister had given to the southern states. And that was something which was, very trying to defend the kind of steps that have been taken. Now, this is something which is very akin to what happened in the United States of America, till such time that every state of the United States started having its own resources and spending it over there. The GST system may be good as far as simplifying the procedure is concerned, but I think the methodology that is being used, that is not very appropriate, and will certainly lead to this kind of bitterness which will spread.
All right. So it's very interesting that both Vijay, you, and as well as Dr. Itnal are saying the same thing, in the sense that you have to look at the sentiment, you have to look at the fact sheet and see how the South has been deprived. And now, therefore, I will go to Sudha R. Halkai. Sudha ji, if you look at it, I have got statistics in front of me. This is state-wise allocation of central taxes. If we can have that graphics up, I think we've prepared it. UP, over 10 lakh crores distributed. UP is right on top, 18%, followed by Bihar, MP, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, then Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, then Karnataka, then of course Telangana, right? So this sheet which I have in my hand and what you're seeing on your screen clearly proves what both Dr. Itnal and Vijay Grover have been saying. It's about the allocation and how it's been very unfair. Why is it that, yes, I do agree that there are things that there are ways to kind of handle this, and I don't think I would have, and I don't think the perception which is going across what D.K Suresh, it's a big boo-boo according to me. But the point is, why doesn't the government do something about it? I mean, instead of, because you have fact sheets right here. And Nirmala Sitharaman ji, instead of saying you are not looking at point A, you should look at point B, etc., never wants to address it. Sudha ji.
Yeah. At the foremost, Sudha, I would like to appreciate your national integrity and taking up this topic of what Mr. D.K Suresh has spoken about dividing our country again. So this is again, time and again, they have proved that they are following the culture of Britishers of a divide and rule policy. And the script of Bharat Jodo was very well written and played also, but the reality had to be spoken. So this is what Mr. D.K Suresh has spoken. And regarding the funds, Sudha, let us go back to the history and see that the UPA government, what fund it has given to the Karnataka, the present BJP government has given 3 times more the fund what the UPA government had given. First thing. Second thing, there is in the north, there were some states called as Bimaru states. So now the center had decided to upgrade the northern states, and as well as considering all the states.
They will continue to be Bimaru. Yeah, they will continue to be Bimaru. It's not that I am anti-national. No. Thank you for your compliment, but I belong to the entire. No, Sudhaji, to say that the BJP has updated the nation. Go on. Okay, I'll wait.
No, let me say.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Let me take you to something. There is a hypocrisy by the Congress government. They are saying at one end we are not having funds. But Sudha, where are they getting the funds of 10,000 crores to be given to the minorities? They have cancelled the scholarship of the laborers' children from 100 rupees to 90 rupees. 90 rupees they have cancelled. Only 10% is a scholarship given to the education of these laborers. Why did they cancel it? 12,000 crores of the ST-SC fund was utilized for the freebies. Why did they do that? Where are they getting these funds which has to be given to minorities, is it? Over here? And let me tell, yeah, they have given
it to the minorities. Yes. There is one thing, Sudhaji, with due respect to you, you're wearing a lovely sari, you're looking very beautiful. That's what my production team was saying. But I don't think that you are a nationalist, ma'am. I am sorry. A nationalist. You are not. No. This is India, that is Bharat or no. I'm sorry. I'll come back to that. Being nationalist does not mean that you abuse some other community. I have to take a break, Sudhaji. I am not abusing. Sudhaji, I will take just 1 minute of your time. Sudhaji, I'll come back, Sudhaji. I promise you. I have to take a break, madam. I have to take a break, and then I'll come back. I promise, to Dr. Sudha R. Halkai. And then I go to Nizam Faujdar. This is not about tu meme. It's about how one person from any group makes an objectionable statement, and however much the arithmetic logic is there behind it. Some things you don't breach. Back in a moment.
There's a new video around what deepfake can do.
We have seen a trailer of this a few days back.
Donors should not be only on the platform.
We'll have to wait and see how those play out.
Hindenburg's report cannot be taken as gospel of truth.
Bangalore traffic is an example of something that has gone wrong with our system.
We have more than 50 flyovers in Bangalore city. If flyover is a solution to traffic problem, Bangalore should not have traffic problem.
According to TomTom Traffic Index 2022, Bangalore is ranked as the second worst city in the world when it comes to traffic.
The speed limit at the ORR is 80 kilometers per hour, but our vehicle has only moved 10 kilometers per hour.
What Bangalore needs is a surgery, but what we have been offered repeatedly are band-aids.
Only on the world's first news OTT. News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
A defiant performance by Ten Hag's men. Now standing at 7 feet 4 inches, Satnam Singh is making his way into professional wrestling.
We are getting more good news for India.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा.
There's certainly a wall of capital coming into the clean tech, climate tech space, not just in India, but across the world.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
Welcome back. The South Indian is here and this is what we are discussing. D.K Suresh's objectionable remarks about disintegrating, as in going for a separate southern state, and as promised before the break, Dr. Sudha Arhalkai. Let's have her on the screen. Dr. Sudha, please go ahead and complete your point, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Sudha. I am not against the minorities. We do very well respect the minorities. It is misinterpreted. What I meant to say was, they are saying they don't have the funds for the drought. Then how can they shift the 12 crores from the STSC funds to the freebies? How can they give 1,000 crores to the other schemes? From where are they getting the funds? And when Mr. Yediyurappa ji was there, he never waited for the central funds. He has given 25,000 to every single acre of the farmer during the floods. And even during the COVID, they have given. But according to the National Disaster Fund,
Sudhaji,
they have to give 7,000 to 1 acre. Let me complete, Sudha.
No, Sudhaji, I also have to complete. No, I have a limited time. Sudhaji, this sheet that I showed you, if we can play up the graphics, are you first a Kannadiga? It's in the sense, I am not talking about nationalism here. I will not say I am a Tamil first and then someone who speaks Urdu. No, although I speak both the languages very well. But the point is that why is it that you don't see that if there are, because Vijay Grover, Dr. Itnal said it's been happening from 1971. He named all the prime ministers. He said Indiraji, Rajiv, VP Singh, you name it, Mr. Deve Gowda, everyone. But the point is, when I ask you, you go back and they say, why did you not? Don't you think this should be done, ma'am? Just yes or no?
I will tell you, my Prime Minister, my party will never do injustice to any one single Indian as of I know, because they are on the verge of moving on Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka
ma'am,
Vishwas,
he's not just your
Prayas.
Prime Minister, he's mine. He is
No,
my Prime Minister and I expect him to do. You've taken enough time. Nizam Fauzdar, would you like to, I want to ask you something else. I don't want this to be Nizam. Honestly, tu main bekar hai sab. I want to ask you something. Recently there have been a string of incidents in Karnataka. We saw what happened in Mandya, in Bhatkal, in Raichur, in Dharwad. Families are leaving, etc., etc. Somewhere the perception, I'm only talking about perception, Nizam, because this is about perception these days. Let's be real. It seems like the government is unable to rein in forces which are there, just creating trouble. Now this statement, why I said India Bloc is one, we need an opposition, and we saw Mamata Di going one way, like, Nitish Babu on his own trip, whatever it is. The thing is that at this juncture, don't you think D.K Suresh's statement will be detrimental both for your party and also the government?
See, Sudha, if we do politics only to win elections, I think then this statement would make a different connotation. But if you understand the statement he said, the situation may arise. Let's understand that. We need to give credit to a leader who has stood tall and is one of our very strongest leaders who have fought against the fascist forces. When somebody says the situation arises, it doesn't mean he's demanding. So we have to understand, we need to understand the perceptions, or we have to understand the word perspective rather. Instead of perception, it's perspective. So when we are saying, apna 4 lakh crores mein se take 50-60% and give us 40%, you are giving meager 10% of what we earn. I'm saying, what is the incentive for doing well? This is what Mr. D.K Suresh is asking. That is what every Indian, every Kannadiga, every Tamilian, every Telgite,
but it will impact your party and government, na, Nizam, won't it? the perception.
No. If we are looking at only winning the elections, that means we are not just doing justice
अरे भाई
to the
राम
country,
टेम्पल
we
का
are not
होता
doing
है,
justice.
उसके बाद आप पीछे जाते हैं, उस पे सॉफ्ट हिंदुत्व करते हैं, आप पूजा करवाते हैं, देन इस पे भी मतलब ये डिली डैलिंग है कि हम ना आपके हुए ना हमारे हैं।
नहीं, मैं हिंदू विरोधी हो जाऊंगा तो मैं पक्का मुसलमान बन जाऊंगा, ये नहीं है। या मैं मुसलमान के खिलाफ बोलूंगा तो मैं एक बहुत बड़ा हिंदू बन जाऊंगा, ये बिल्कुल गलत है। मैं कहता हूं कि देश पहले है, उसके बाद में नागरिक बाद में आता है। तो हमें समझना चाहिए कि when we need to understand that, you know, in a state, in a country where there are 140
okay, but you said देश पहले है। I've got 3 minutes to go, निजाम, my apologies, दोस्त की मुझे जाना पड़ेगा, दूसरों के पास भी। डॉक्टर इतनाल, the thing is both you and Vijay said pretty much the same thing. But I'll also ask you about the perception thing. Ram Temple, I think things are being managed very badly. This statement of we need a separate southern state, you know, I know Hindi imposition, you know, I come from Tamil Nadu and we've seen this. Hindi imposition, trying to put you down all the time, trying this Hindi hegemony, all of it, when you know, we've heard it, we've seen it. But what about perception? Times change, Dr. Itnal. It's not the same time it was 2 decades ago. First Ram Temple they do, there Udayanidhi Stalin sits and does Sanatana Dharma, then here you see, look at the perception, it's sending out a very wrong message.
As a political party, Congress or any other party will have to go by the tenets of the Constitution. That is mandatory. But the ground reality, Sudha, is that, see, for example, when they say that he's talking about Bharat Todo, it is an emotional line. But at the same time, he has simply verbalized what BJP is practicing. When you call the kind of names, Mr. What's his name, the JDU MP,
Nitish,
the Muslim MP, I'm forgetting his name. Anyways. Or the kind of the JP Nadda comes to Karnataka and say that if you do not Danishali, yeah, the kind of, you know, that is discrimination is division. Whether it is financial, political, or cultural, the most important part is cultural discrimination. And when the BJP spokesman was saying that why did Karnataka government get 10,000 crore rupees to this community, that community, that is state subject, madam. That is a state subject, you can debate it. But it is a state subject that doesn't justify.
Yeah, yeah, Dr. Itnal, sorry, Dr. Itnal, 1 minute. I have just got 1 minute. Vijay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to give some clarification on what Dr. Sudha had said about, you know, the construction workers fund being taken away and given to minorities. I just want to clarify on this that, you know, as per COVID, during the COVID, we had an issue where everybody got a construction worker card. There was a time in this state when after COVID was over, 45 lakh people in Karnataka had a construction labor card, which were including landlords, professors, and everybody else who had. That is where, after the filtration has happened, that the funds have been reduced from that department and given to the other departments because 200 crore. Now, the second thing, this narrative that she was speaking about of UPA gave less, we are giving more, that was the time when we had VAT. The state did not have to give to the center and expect that something will come back. VAT was government's money in the state to be spent on state's development. That was when we had this kind of thing. Now, clearly, this is something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Vijay, but I've completely run out of time. But there is one thing, all of you, that I will stick my neck out, come what may. There are certain things which are sacrosanct. That's what the perception is. And like Dr. Itnal said, you can't go against the Constitution for God's sake. That is the only book that we all go by. The BJP many a time may breach that, and I'm sticking my neck out. But you don't expect other parties to do that. The BJP has done it, like, you know, are talking about minorities and others. But in this case, D.K Suresh is clearly, he really shot his mouth off. And I think this is going to come back to haunt them for now months and months, even as we are going towards the Lok Sabha. Take it from me, Mr. Modi will speak about it ad nauseum and will perhaps kind of impact everybody who comes for his rallies. And on that note, Thanks, Sudha. Thank you so much for speaking. Thank you so much, Nizam Faujdar. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Itnal. Vijay Grover, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. And we are going to speak about politics, but this time around it's about Tamil Nadu politics. What's happening there? Well, there is a new political leader on the anvil. Who is he? Back in a moment, I'll tell you who he is. Vanakkam, the South Indian will say Vanakkam in her mother tongue, because we are going to discuss about Thalapathy Vijay's entry into politics. Yes, it's final. But you know, there was a time when we all sat and thought about it. Will he? Won't he? That was the question, even as the 49-year-old Vijay kept denying that he shall enter active politics. But he was dropping enough hints as well. An actor who is known to be rather reticent. A direct indication of his plans to join politics first surfaced last June, when he finally distanced himself from his father, Mr. Chandrasekhar, and attended students' rally in Chennai, urging students to ask their parents not to accept cash for votes from politicians and to educate themselves about leaders such as B.R. Ambedkar, E.V. Ramaswamy, that is Periyar, and K. Kamaraj. So, you know, not to accept cash for votes. An actor whose fan club, the Vijay Makkaliyakam, is managed by lakhs of fans turned volunteers, must be celebrating as their hero is now part of Tamil Nadu politics. Vijay finally took a plunge into politics, announcing the formation of his new party, Tamiliga Vetri Kazhagam. Vijay now joins the long list of actors who joined politics, starting with C.N. Annadurai, Kalaignar Karunanidhi, MGR, Sivaji Ganeshan, Jayalalitha Jairam, the late Captain Vijaykanth, and Kamala Hassan. In all likelihood, Vijay would be making his potential debut in the 2026 assembly polls rather than contesting the coming Lok Sabha polls this year. Vijay's fan base is not just limited to Tamil Nadu. It has a great reach into Kerala, Telangana, and also Karnataka. You know what? That Vijay is young and aspirational is a fact, but the question is whether his fans shall vote for him and elect his party. But as of now, it all depends on what Vijay brings to the table in terms of what he has to offer in the face of two Dravidian parties like the DMK and AIADMK striding like giants in Tamil Nadu. If you ask me, what Vijay needs to do is to first promise jobs for youngsters, and second, make Tamil Nadu involve itself in the national mainstream. Then all the time stand apart only as Tamils. Yes, we are Tamils, but we are part of this great country called India, that is Bharat. And now we are coming to the final story, and which is rather extremely sad. This is the story that we are talking about. Poonam Pandey, very young person, an actor, a model. She dies of cervical cancer. There is an entire story there for all of us women. I'll tell you what it is. It is indeed a cruel irony that within 24 hours of Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announcing the government's plans to focus on vaccination against cervical cancer for girls aged 9 to 14 as part of her interim budget, 32-year-old actor turned model Poonam Pandey died of cervical cancer on the night of Thursday. The news broke on her official Instagram account and sent immediate shockwaves. Initially, no one was actually ready to believe that she was gone at such a young age, and wondered if it was hoax. But then, unfortunately, it was confirmed by her team. Poonam Pandey's death raises concerns about the lack of awareness around cervical cancer, the need for prevention, and there is a kind of hesitancy around it just because it concerns with women's reproductive organs, as it were. How silly. But now, as a positive step, the government plans to boost HPV or human papilloma virus vaccination for cervical cancer prevention through information, education, communication campaigns. The government is also exploring options to cap prices so that the vaccines are available for treating cervical cancer to everybody around and not just to the privileged few. Despite being highly preventable, let me tell you, cervical cancer is the second most common cancer among women in India. As per a WHO report which was released on 1st February, new cases of cervical cancer among Indian women is 17.7%. This is a tribute for the young Poonam Pandey. If only it was preventable, we would have this young woman actor model with us today. And on that note, the South Indian says goodbye, take care of yourself, and the next time when we meet, we shall bring you stories from the South Indian states and of course ask you to think and ponder. Vanakkam.
The circumstances that prevailing today in the subcontinent are very volatile, they are very explosive, they are very dangerous.
Pakistani, they sent Pakistani armies led by Punjabi generals, whether it was General Tikka Khan or General A.K. Khan Niazi, to oppress Bengalis in Bengal.
I don't think we can shut our eyes to the situation in a neighboring state.
There was this whole exploitation of East Pakistan, people of East Pakistan, rather Bengalis of East Pakistan, by